Now streaming on Netflix is NYAD, nominated for 2 Academy Awards for its 2 leads. This is the true story of a woman in her 60s who in her youth had been a long distance record setting marvel of a long distance swimmer who always wanted to set a record and swim from Cuba to Florida, which is a really long distance, like more than 100 miles, I believe. Like 60 hours, I think they said, of swimming nonstop. It's just an insane undertaking. And she had tried it once in her youth and did not make that happen. And then as she reaches her 60th birthday, she realizes, I'm gonna do this. I've got nothing else going. This is important to me. I need to make this happen. So she trains, and with her best friend, by the way, Annette Bening portrays Diana Nyad, and Jodie Foster is her best friend. And they decide, okay, we're going to do this. I support you. I'm here to train you and here to make this happen. And we see the film progresses as she is training to set up all of the various things that are required, because you don't just do it alone. You don't just jump in the ocean in Cuba. First of all, getting to Cuba, but you don't just jump in the ocean in Cuba, swim to Florida and say, hey, everybody, I'm here. You need a team of people around you to make sure you don't expire en route. So it is this pretty amazing story of this very focused, determined woman, an athlete, and what she did to try to achieve this goal. Does she achieve this goal? I'm not going to tell you whether she achieves this goal, but it's an amazing film. It's one of those things where it was released straight to Netflix. I don't think this might have had a tiny amount of theatrical play, because in order to be nominated for Oscars, which, as I said, Annette Bening and Jodie Foster are, and worthy of them, in order to be nominated, you have to play in a theater for a little bit. So I think this is one of those deals where maybe it played for a week or a few days in some theaters. I often will talk about Netflix films in that they feel like they exist in this world between a theatrical feature and a TV movie. Like top-notch talent in front of and or behind the camera, they look great, but oftentimes they feel to me like they're not quite enough to be in a theater. This is a film I don't understand why it wasn't in theaters. It looks amazing. It's directed by Jimmy Chin and Elizabeth Kai Vasarhelyi. Sorry, I mispronounced that last name. And it goes back and forth in time. Like as NYAD is swimming, she flashes back to her as a little girl swimming and things that happened to her in her life that motivated her. She uses music to time her strokes and how long. She says, it's 347 don't go breaking my hearts or whatever. So many songs to get to, the stretch she needs to go. So oftentimes this movie plays those actual songs. So the soundtrack to this is phenomenal. Looks unbelievable. This is really a film that you want to see on the biggest screen you can. Real shame, honestly, while I was watching this. I'm like, why couldn't I have seen this in the theater? It draws you right in. Characters are super fascinating and likable. The entire cast, Rhys Ifans is in it as this sort of grizzly boat captain or boat skipper, whatever you want to call him, who goes along for the ride and or is driving the boat next to her so they can be coaching her and informing her and giving her nutrition and medical care and all this. There's some harrowing things that happen in the water that make you go, yes, I never want to do that. Not that many of us thought we ever wanted to swim for 60 hours in the open sea, but just some terrifying moments in this film. It really has it all. It's very funny throughout. The interplay between Bening and Foster is very funny. They're friends who've known each other since they were kids, and they're now like in their late 50s, early 60s, and they've got that witty banter and repartee, and it's a fantastic film. Like, this is really good. If you like sports movies, I don't really particularly care about sports movies, but this is a movie about determination and triumph of the human spirit and amazing athleticism and not letting age get in the way of you achieving your goals or dreams or things you want to check off that list. This was really, really good. Not a lot of movies I would say I would sit and watch again. Not a lot of modern movies. I would sit and watch NYAD again. This was really good. As I'm watching it, I'm texting like friends and family saying, you need to watch NYAD. Have you seen NYAD? You really should watch it. I think you'd like this. It's really good. So I would highly recommend this. It's got the Oscar buzz around it. Or Oscar, is Oscar buzz something you get after you've been nominated? I don't know. Anyway, it's Oscar nominated, and rightly so. Even if it wasn't, I would say this film should have been in theaters. This is really good. If you want to see a film about grown-ups, if you want to see a film about adult female relationships, NYAD is there for you on Netflix.